Welcome to rePROs Fight Back, a podcast where we explore all things reproductive health, rights, and justice. I'm your host, Jennie Wetter, and I'll be helping you stay informed around issues like birth control, abortion, sex education, and LGBTQ issues, and much, much more. Giving you the tools you need to take action and fight back. Okay, let's dive in. Hi, rePROs. Welcome to a special episode of rePROs Fight Back. I cannot believe it is our 100th episode. It is just wild to try and wrap my brain around it. So we decided we were going to do something special. I promised y'all we would. So since it is going to be an Ask Me Anything episode, it doesn't really feel like we need to do an extra introduction of me talking about what's going on with me, since you're going to hear all about me for the next half hour or so. But what I am really excited about is you finally get to hear from the other half of the podcast. The one who, if you see all of our stuff on social media, if you've been to our website, does all the things that make us look amazing. So I am so excited to now turn it over to our amazing digital media manager, Rachel Marchand. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Jennie. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited, but I am nervous. I'm very nervous.
It's okay. So just first, before we start, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for all the things you do for the podcast. It would not be what it is without you and all of your hard work to make sure that people see it and it looks good. And we have amazing graphics and all of the things. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I'm
going to turn it over to you.
Oh, okay. All right. It's over to me now. All right. So, oh my gosh, Jennie, I literally don't even know where to begin. I will say that I can't believe it's episode 100. We had to send an email to our coworker, Vina, where you and I had to describe, tell her some memories and quotes and some of our favorite memories from the podcast. And it just made me realize how grateful I am that we have been able to have this experience together and grow together and grow this podcast. And the incredible
Rachel has been here almost from the beginning.
I know.
She's been here since it launched.
Yeah. It's been what, three and a half years?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
I know. Just over 3.
Just over 3. But in that time, just to think back on all of the incredible guests and just how grateful I am to be able to, with you, lift up their voices and share their stories and talk about these issues. It's just been so incredible. So, oh my gosh, rePROs 100th episode.
Woo! Can't wait for the next 100.
I know, can't wait. And also just the listeners have been so amazing. And I hope that once, we're all out of lockdown, we can meet more of them at all the conferences that we hopefully get to go to and meet everybody in person.
Yeah, I am so excited to see how many questions we got. So I'm really excited to do this.
All right, well then let's dive in. So we got a good amount of questions. Are you ready, Jennie?
I'm ready.
Okay, you're ready to go.
It is weird being on the other side.
It must be. It must be really strange. Okay, so ready for number 1. What made you start the podcast?
Yeah, so we decided to start the podcast after the election of Donald Trump. We were looking for new ways that the Population Institute can just what new things we could do and what kind of innovative strategies we could take to make change. And we kind of threw around a number of ideas, and the idea of a podcast came up. And, I will be completely honest, I was not completely sold on it. And I was definitely not sold on hosting a podcast. This is not something I ever envisioned myself doing. But part of the Population Institute's mission is public education. So a podcast is a great opportunity to do just that, to reach the public, to talk about the issues and what actions people can take. So we decided, that this was a moment where there were so many ways that reproductive health rights and justice were under attack in this country, that starting a podcast to talk about these issues and what actions people can take around them seems like a really great idea. So that is how we started the podcast.
And now you're a full-blown podcast host.
Yeah, it's still very weird. I don't know that it will ever stop being weird. That said, I love doing it. And I'm really glad that my boss, Bob, pushed me into doing this because, like I said, I was a bit of a reluctant host at first. I'm a bit of an introvert and a little bit shy. So this was definitely not where I saw myself going. So it was a bit of a reach for me, but it's good to do that.
Yeah, I feel like in a similar vein that we have another question that asks, what's it like hearing your own voice on the podcast? And do you listen to previous episodes ever?
Oh, y'all, this is no, I don't, if I can help it. So for two reasons. First, no, I don't like hearing my own voice. It's very weird. It's weird whenever you hear yourself recorded, but also hearing it on microphone is like totally different. I feel like I get podcaster voice, which is not what my voice I feel like sounds like, which is weird. So I don't particularly enjoy listening to myself, and I know I've talked about this before on the podcast, that I have that little voice in the back of my head that heckles me all the time, like talking about you should have done this better, or why did you say it like that? And so one of my strategies for not listening to it is not giving it space. So I don't listen to old episodes if I can help it, because all I will hear is the things I should have said better or done differently. And that's not healthy. That's not a good way to cope. So I don't listen back. Now, that said, I do listen to some. If I know there's like an edit that needs to be made, I will listen to episodes to find like where the edits need to happen. But that's the only time I listen.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I'm sure I feel like I would be the same way. But, I think it was Wednesday, we had a all staff meeting, and there was a theme that came from a lot of our coworkers that we were talking about the 100th episode. And there was a theme that it's that personal touch that you bring to the podcast, where you talk where you are vulnerable and you share those pieces of information with the listeners. I think that's something that really makes the podcast so special.
Oh, thank you. Y'all made me cry. Oh. It was very sweet. And my heart.
I know. It was so sweet. Okay. Well, then maybe I feel like we've talked about this before. I definitely know this has been posted on social, but do you have any favorite episodes yourself?
So I feel like we have a couple of questions that involve my favorites. So I'm going to give a little secret. I am really terrible at this game. Not just for the podcast, but in everything. It depends on the day. Like, everything is my favorite for different reasons. So it's always super hard to be like, this is my favorite TV show, or this is my favorite book. Like, it always varies. But thinking of the podcast, I have to say one of our recent ones has been one of my favorites. The one where I talked to Monica Simpson.
Definitely.
I was so excited for that podcast and to talk to her. So that automatically became one of my favorites. But we've just had so many amazing guests, people I get to work with in coalitions and stuff, that I'm always so excited to get to highlight how wonderfully smart they are and how knowledgeable they are about so many of these issues, that they all become my favorite because I'm getting to show off the amazing people that I get to work with. It's really weird. It's really hard to pick a favorite, but I will lift up one that will always hold an extra special place in my heart. And it's super short and it gets bypassed a lot. But back in the beginning, I went to a child marriage conference and I got to talk to a young woman, Megla Atkar, who was from Bangladesh, and her mom was arranging a marriage for her when she was young. And she was able to put it off and not get married. And she was getting ready to start college when I talked to her. And She was a little nervous at the start. It was a little hard to understand. So I think people maybe didn't listen, but it was just such a moving story. And it was so wonderful to get to talk to her. It just holds like this really special place in my heart.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I remember when you came back from that conference and doing the show notes for that. And I thought that was a fantastic episode. That's definitely on my favorite list as well.
Well, I'm going to turn the tables then because I can. Do you have a favorite episode?
Well, we've said this before. It's so hard from our perspective, It's so hard to pick a favorite just because I literally feel like when this question is asked, I go through like a Rolodex of every single
100 episodes?
Yeah, of every single episode in my head. And they're all so wonderful. But I think,
yeah, absolutely. I feel terrible not having a solid answer.
I know.
Because they are.
They really
I love so many of them. I'm like, oh, I love this person is always an amazing guest. And like, this person always does this. And like, it's so hard because we have been just so blessed and so lucky to have so many amazing guests on the show that, yeah, it's so hard to pick a favorite.
It really is. It's funny because I was trying to put together like a running list and it just got like bigger and bigger and bigger. So I literally cannot narrow down.
No, I can't. I give you like a top 50.
Yeah, exactly. Top 50. I think that's smart. But yeah, Meg, that episode on child marriage has always stuck out to me. Caitlin Burns' episodes are amazing. I think the abortion and maternal health landscape.
Preston is always amazing.
Yeah, Preston's always amazing. The abortion and maternal health landscape is different for Black women is an episode that...
Oh yeah, that was a really good one.
I really enjoyed. The Title IX episodes are really wonderful. Yeah, there's just so many. I feel like I could just keep going on and on and on.
I know. It's so hard.
It really is.
I think I also have a particular fondness for the ones around issues that I don't get to work on as much in my day-to-day work. So that means like extra special fondness for when Caitlin's on because I'm talking about transgender issues. And that's just not something we spend a lot of time on day to day. But I want to make sure it's covered on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Or like Preston came on and we got to talk about decriminalization and sex work. And, you know, again, that's not something we spend a ton of time on, but is really important. So special places in my heart when we get to work on things I care about, but don't get to spend a ton of time on.
Or actually one that was on my list was, well, actually a couple, was voting rights as a reproductive justice issue.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that one.
Love that episode. And then
Marcella Howe is so wonderful.
Yes, I know. She's amazing. And then vindication of pleasure. And I think that we are very lucky to be able to be somewhat independent with the topics we cover on here, because like you said, it is really nice to be able to hear from experts and leaders on topics that Population Institute doesn't necessarily work on, but those are the most informative, impactful episodes, I feel like, when we're able to go back and listen to them.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one that is also in a similar vein. What's something you've wanted to cover on the podcast but haven't gotten the opportunity to do yet?
So the one thing that immediately comes to mind is talking about disability rights as a reproductive justice issue. It has been something I have wanted to do, and I had a specific person in mind. And so I've been trying to make it happen, and it hasn't happened because she's super busy and it's been hard to get her to do an episode. So I think I need to favor covering disability rights as a reproductive issue versus having the person I envisioned doing it if she doesn't have time to do it. So if anybody has any great people they think we should talk to, please feel free to suggest them. It's a really important topic and I want to make sure we cover it. That's been really high on my list for a while of topics that we need to cover.
Anything else?
No, that's the main one that I can think of. I'm sure there are others that will come up, but disability, it's just so big in my mind that it's blocking everything else.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is whenever we go to conferences, we always get such amazing recommendations and suggestions, and we are always looking for recommendations and suggestions on any of our social or emailing us.
Yeah, for sure.
Always looking for new topics to discuss.
I mean, that's what we ended up doing infertility. A couple others earlier is from listener suggestions.
Definitely. What are the challenges you faced recording a podcast during the pandemic?
Yeah. So in office, we have a studio where I usually record that's set up to one, so I can interview people face to face, which is super nice and helpful. But it's also set up for better sound than my condo is. I have my travel kit at home, which has been helpful. But before the pandemic, I did I don't know, maybe 2, maybe 3 interviews over the phone. Everything else I did face to face. So it was like this whole new skill to develop of figuring out how to interview people over the phone when you can't see faces, which is hard. Just trying to find what works. We tried using Zoom and weren't getting as good of recordings. So yeah, it's been like tinkering with everything to try and make sure we're getting you as good of audio quality as possible so that it sounds good. And also having a good interaction with the person, which sometimes over the phone is hard because, you can't see like facial cues, like they're just taking a pause to think and you're jumping over them or something like that. So that was definitely a new skill.
And I feel like you'd be remiss if you didn't leave out, or if you left out Cinder and Luna.
Oh, yes. So the other challenge has been my 2 cats who really love to be involved in the podcast. One of them is by the door to the condo. I think the cleaning people are in the hall and she loves to listen to them mopping. She'll like chase the mop. But yeah, so it's been an adventure. They do come up and sometimes talk to me. I see one who is heading this way now. We had an episode where Cinder walked across my laptop. Ooh, that reminds me, let me move my cursor so she doesn't do it again, and stop the recording in the middle, which was awesome. So yeah, they have been an adventure, but they've been pretty good. Like they'll come and sit and like stare at me sometimes while I'm recording, or come just sit and like get in the microphone. But I think we've only had them crying on a couple. They've not been too bad. They're good girls.
I feel like we should just do a Cinder Luna podcast episode. You should interview Cinder and Luna.
Well, if Cinder comes over here, we'll see if we can get her to talk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I seem to remember, I think one, if not the first podcast episode, recording from home. Cinder, were you in a closet or something? And Cinder was outside yelling at you?
Yeah. So that's where is like the ideal place to record, is like in a closet, because you have all your clothes to like absorb the sound waves so you don't get any echo. But I have like a closet that's along one whole wall. So it's just like narrow and long. I don't have like one that's like easy to sit in. So I quit doing that because it wasn't comfortable and it was hard to arrange all my stuff. And so I just quit doing that.
But needless to say, it has definitely been a journey figuring out how to do this podcast from home.
It has, yes. Yes, it has been a journey.
And so, Jennie, please tell me, what's something that listeners might not know about you?
Okay, so this is really, really, really random. I don't know. And I think Rachel knows this. I definitely feel like we've had this conversation, but not that many people do. So a couple years ago, one morning, I was like reading Facebook in bed and I saw this article that like caught my attention, and I don't know why. And I clicked on it, and it was about this guy who can't visualize things. And so it was like this, they think fairly rare thing. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Like that, I can't do that. Like, wait, do people actually see things? So come to find out. So I don't remember what it's called. Sorry, y'all. But so if I were to tell you to picture a beach, do you actually see a beach? Like, when you in your mind, can you like see it? Can you see it in color? So for the majority of the population, that's yes, they can actually visualize a beach. Or the example in the article was a red ball. If I said picture a red ball, do you see one? And I can't. Like I don't see anything. And there's like a gradation of it apparently, where some people can see like in black and white or tones of gray, and some people just can't visualize anything. So it like took me a while to like come to like all of this of You know, when I would first explain it to people, I would be like, yeah, it's like when you're reading a book, like it's just like narration. And they're like, yeah, no, but when I read a book, I like picture all the things that people are talking about. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, no, like to me, it's just like running narration. And like when I dream, it's the same thing. Like I don't visualize. And when I dream, it's just like a story in my head. So often if you hear me talk about a dream, I'll be like, oh, Rachel, you were there. I don't know what you were doing because I can't see you. So unless we're actually interacting, I won't remember what you were doing because it wasn't part of the story, right? Like, yeah, so it's really random. But yeah, I cannot visualize things.
A fantastic answer. I remember when we had that conversation for the first time. So it's more like you can conceptualize things, like it's conceptual, but you can't, there's no visualization.
Yeah, like I know what a ball is and like I know what you look like when I'm not looking at you. So like I know there are some people that can't do that either, right? Like people who can't picture faces and like remember who people are. That's not a problem. I just can't see it.
Okay. I get it. I
don't know.
Now.
It's weird. It's not weird. It's different. It sounds like it's not. They don't know how common it is because if you've never seen, like, if you haven't experienced anything different, like I didn't know it was not normal. I mean that's right. Still like a judgy word, but like that's not how everybody experienced things. I didn't realize when someone said like I'm picturing a beach, they actually could see it because like that was just never my reality.
So you mentioned in the answer to the last question, it's like reading a book. So I think that's a perfect segue into, have you been reading anything good lately, Jennie?
So as Rachel knows, I am a bit of a reader. I think I've definitely talked about it on the podcast as well. Yes, I do read a lot. I think recently the best one I've read is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. It's about this girl. It's like hard to explain without giving like too much away, who nobody can remember her.
Oh.
So like if I were to meet somebody and then walk away, you would like immediately forget me. And so it's really cool. And she lives her life. Then all of a sudden she meets somebody who remembers her. And it's a great story. Aww. It was really fun. It was a little sad, but that was really good. I read My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. It's part of a series. And so this is the first one in that series. And it's about two young women in Italy. And it's like about their friendship. And the series like travels over the course of them growing up. So this one starts when they're pretty little until one of them gets married. And then let's see, I've been trying to be better about reading nonfiction. I haven't always been great about it. But this year with quarantine, I've really tried to make a point of reading nonfiction when I'm like after work for a little bit. I read a bunch this last year. So The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson and The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander were two of my favorites that I read this year. The Warmth of Other Suns is about the Great Migration, and it was just an astonishing book. It was just so good. I cannot wait to read her new book that came out last year, Cast. It's on my list. I haven't gotten to it yet. And then The New Jim Crow deals with the criminal justice system. And that's just something that has been kind of a hole in my knowledge. So that was a great book to read to start to learn more about the criminal justice system. So those were some of my favorites from the last bit.
Yeah, I was going to say reading has been so critical during this quarantine.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and also The Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. That was also really good. I read that last year too.
I get so many good ideas for books from your Goodreads.
Oh, yeah. So I'm on Goodreads, are free to come and be my friend. I am a voracious reader. So, and I was before quarantine, but it has only gotten worse during quarantine where I read a lot. So, yeah. And this year, my goal is so last year it was to be better about reading nonfiction, and I'm going to keep that going forward. But this year is to tackle graphic novels. That is just something I never got into before. So last year I read my first, which was the March series by John Lewis. And that was very, very good. And this year I read The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which was really good. So yeah, I will try to read some more graphic novels and, books. They've always kind of been my thing.
I feel like it's very similar to your New Year's resolution last year, which was to bake things that intimidate you. I don't know if graphic novels intimidate you, but to maybe go a little bit outside of your bubble and to read. Yeah. So then what are some things you've baked this year or last year, since it's only February?
Okay. I was going to say, so yeah, because it's only February and I had been doing a lot of baking. So I'm trying to eat down my freezer at the moment. I think I have finally gotten it where I can start baking again. So that's exciting. But yes, so I feel like I've talked about some of this on the podcast, but you may have missed some of it. So last year I decided to do bakes that challenge me or intimidate me or whatever. So I did sourdough, which I started the starter on my own, and that was really fun. And I've been using the starter for other things. So I've made sourdough English muffins, which I actually had one for breakfast. They're delightful. I made bagels, which were also really fun.
Right.
And let's see, bagels.
I made cinnamon rolls. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. I did cinnamon rolls, and I had gotten from King Arthur, they had like these special winter spice sets. And one of the ones I got was speculoos flavoring, like spices. So instead of just cinnamon, I did speculoos cinnamon rolls, which were delightful.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And then the big one was to tackle this year's New Year's resolution, which is pastry, which I have studiously avoided. And I made pain au chocolat. And y'all, I was fully prepared for it to fail. Like, I just assumed it would not work. And it was amazing. It turned out so well. I don't know if it's dumb beginner's luck, but it was beautiful and flaky and just perfect. And so I made mostly pain au chocolat, but I did some that were turkey and cheese as well. And they were so good. I will definitely do it again. It took a long time, but it was not as hard as I envisioned it to be.
Yes, I do remember a text that you sent, and it was a video of you cutting into the pain au chocolat. And it was, I was like blown away. It looked so good.
It was so good. Like, I'm not a huge croissant person, but I often feel like a lot of the places you get them, you're not getting like good ones, right? Like, you're not getting real nice flaky croissants, but this was just so good.
Do you have an idea of what your next pastry recipe that you're going to tackle will be?
No, I don't. I honestly have no idea.
Well, the world is your oyster.
I was thinking croissants again to make more of the like savory ones to have them for lunch, because that was really good. So that was my thought for right now. But I need to get butter and stuff. I don't have enough butter, because you need a shit ton of butter to make pastry.
Yes.
And you need good butter. So I need to get like good butter.
So you have been reading, you've been baking, you've been playing with Cinder and Luna.
Yeah.
What podcasts have you been listening to?
So I feel like podcasters fall into one of two categories. One, you don't listen to any. And I know there's a lot who like just don't listen to any others. Or you listen to a shit ton. And I fall into I listen to so many podcasts. It's how I get through my day. I need background. Otherwise, I get really easily distracted. So I always have a podcast running. So I made a list.
Oh, good.
Of some of the top ones I listen to every week. So
hit me.
Boom Lawyered. If y'all aren't listening to it, you absolutely should be listening to Jess Pieklo and Imani Gandhi at Rewire News Group. Theirs is a really great legal podcast about reproductive health rights and justice. absolutely check it out. We've talked about Caitlin Burns on the podcast and her being one of our favorite guests to have on. She just literally, I guess when you hear this, last week started a brand new podcast called Cancel Me Daddy. And y'all, it's so good. You should absolutely listen to it. Her and Oliver, and I can't remember Oliver's full name, so I'm so sorry, Oliver. But you should all listen to and subscribe to Cancel Me Daddy because it was so great. And I cannot wait to see what they have coming forth. I also listened to Hysteria. It's a Crooked Media podcast, and it's Aaron, Gloria Ryan, and Alyssa Mastromonaco, and coterie of other hosts that rotate in and out, talking about news through a feminist lens and often talking about feminist-related issues. It's really great. Intersectionality Matters by Kimberly Crenshaw. She always has great guests on to talk about matters relating to intersectionality. I love it. It's so good. For fun, Keep It. Also a Crooked Media podcast with Ira Madison III, Louis Vertel, and Aida Osman. It's a pop culture podcast, and it's just so much fun. I really enjoy listening to that one. My Gateway Drug podcast. So the very first podcast I ever started listening to that got me really sucked into listening to them. Stuff You Missed in History. History is just, I love history. It's so much fun. They are really good about making sure to bring forth women, people of color, Indigenous history. And it's great. I really enjoy it. I have listened to all of it, and there's a lot. Undistracted by Brittany Packnett Cunningham, another really great social justice podcast. I really love it. She's had some amazing guests on. Again, listen to it every week. And special one just for me and Rachel, because we both listen to it and bond over dark, funny, My Favorite Murder. And Rachel and I listen to it, and always they're like, oh my God, did you hear whatever happened? So yeah, that one is a special place in our hearts.
I feel like I need to write all these down. All of these sound amazing.
They're all really good. And I mean, I listen to more. Like I said, I need to have them on while I'm working. It's like the background of my day is podcasts. It's helped me figure out what the hell day of the week it is during the pandemic. Cause I know
That's true.
Pod Save America comes out on Mondays and Thursdays. I know Pod Save the World comes out on Wednesdays. Like you just like track the day of the week because I know what podcasts are out. So that's how I know what day it is, because every day is the same anymore.
Your podcast calendar.
Yeah. So what I'm basically saying is I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I'm always open to recommendations.
So, okay. Again, you've been baking, you've been listening to podcasts, you've been reading, but once lockdown is lifted, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Oh my God. I have no idea. So I need to see people. I live by myself. I've not seen very many people at all. We have a coworker who just had a baby while we've been on quarantine. I would love to see her and get to meet the baby. I would love to see my family. I haven't seen my family for over a year. Yeah, I want to see people again. I miss a lot of people. I haven't seen Rachel in forever since a conference we did. She doesn't live in DC right now, so she probably won't be one of the first people I see, but hopefully not too far distant.
Not too far away.
Yeah, so those are the biggest things I'm looking forward to, is just so many people that I haven't been able to see. I live in DC, my family's in Wisconsin. I don't have a car. So my world is pretty small right now.
Do you feel like the first place you'll travel to will be Wisconsin?
Probably. To see your family? Unless we go somewhere. But yeah, no, it would probably have to be Wisconsin. I would definitely get in trouble if that was not the case.
You'd get in trouble.
But I also, my best friend and I have been talking about taking a trip. and just like going and like doing nothing somewhere that's not here for like a week. So that is also on my list of getting to see Lisa again and hang out and spend time together.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Yeah. Do you have any ideas where you might go?
No. We were talking about like starting to plan something, but then it just seemed so impossible to like dream about that, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I think that we might be able to figure it out now, because one of our questions is, where's the coolest place you've ever traveled to? And where do you want to go next? So maybe this will be good. This will be helpful for you and Lisa to plan your trip.
So again, we're going to get back to my inability to pick favorites and like having multiples. So one of them is actually 2 different trips, but basically to the same place. When I did my study abroad, I was near the Kenya-Tanzania border in Kenya. And then recently I took a trip to Tanzania with my parents that was in Tanzania, but just right on the Kenya-Tanzania border. So basically exactly where I was in Kenya, but just the other side of the border. And
yeah,
it was... The Kenya trip particularly was, okay, life-changing isn't quite the right word, but path-changing. It really changed my focus. It was really great to get out of the US and get to see the world differently and experience the world differently. At that point, I was really looking at going into environmental studies and working on domestic environmental issues. And this really changed that. It got me focused on environment and development and focusing more on the development side, which led me to reproductive health. So, I mean, it changed a lot. And then another really fun trip with my parents was also great because it was wonderful to get to go with them for the first time to Africa. They do a lot of traveling, but they had never been to sub-Saharan Africa. So that was really great to experience that with them for the first time. And then we also went to Ireland, and that was really fun. This is actually, I interviewed Rachel for the job, like, I don't know, 2 days before I was going to Ireland or something. And then she started like not that long after I got back. My mom's side of the family is from Ireland. I mean, like maybe 2.5 generations ago, I think my great grandfather came from Ireland. And so it was really fun. It was me and my mom and dad, and then 2 of my aunts were with us. And it was just a lot of fun. One, to go with my parents and see a lot of Ireland. And I really loved it there and would love to go back. But it was also a lot of fun to get to spend 10 days with my aunts that they live near me, but hadn't been able to spend time like that with them before. So it was a lot of fun to get to travel with them and get to know them better. Aww. And I think we all had a great time. As for where to next, I don't know. I think I've never been to mainland Europe. I've been to Ireland and I've been to London, but I've never been to like the rest of Europe. So
me neither.
Greece is really high on my list. Paris, Italy,
yeah.
There's so much. Spain. Like I've not done Europe. I would really love to spend some time in Europe.
Well, I'm sure Lisa would too.
Yeah, I'm sure she would. So hopefully.
Do you have any bucket list activities that you'd want to do maybe in Europe?
I mean, those are kind of like my bucket list places. So Greece has always been like really high on my list. I think I was of that generation where they like Greek mythology was taught a lot. And then I took a Greek mythology class when I was in college. So that's been really high on my list. But I also like traveling to like Greece and seeing all of that stuff seems really cool to me. Same for like Italy for similar reasons. Plus amazing food in both places.
Definitely.
And then like France to like go to the Louvre and like spend a couple days there.
And when lockdown is lifted, Do you have any restaurants that you want to go to? Or I guess, do you have any favorite places that you like to eat out at?
So the first thing I think of is actually closed. It closed before lockdown, but
Oh no.
and there's a one that's kind of like it. But so back when Lisa lived in DC and we were roommates for a while, but then we lived separately, and we used to meet like once a week at this pho restaurant and get together and have dinner, and we would get crispy spring rolls, and we'd each get and split an order of that and then get a pho. And to me, it's like comforting, warm, happy place. So like that's what I think of. There is a pho place, I think, owned by the same family that's near me, but it's just not the same because it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So that's pretty high on my list. But also a couple of Jose Andres's places I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about Jaleo in Zaytinya. So his Spanish place and his Greek place, or Mediterranean place. Oh, God.
I know.
They both sound so delightful. And they both, or at least I know for sure Zaytinya does, but I think Jaleo does too, have pickup. But again, I don't have a car, so I can't do pickup. But yeah, so I've been thinking about them recently.
Oh, I love Jaleo.
No, it's so good. And
Ever since you mentioned it, I can't stop thinking about it.
I know, sorry. I think I love Zaytinya a little bit more, but I always go to Jaleo more. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I love them both, but
They're not that far from each other either. Because I was going to say maybe it's like,
I know.
maybe it's like a location thing, but
no,
you can't really use that as an excuse.
I feel Zaytinya feels fancier.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I don't know if I feel like it needs to be a special occasion to go there. I don't know.
I know you've talked about this before on the podcast, but I still think that it's something that a lot of people, it resonates with a lot of people, and folks really appreciate when you talk about it. So we got a question that's someone said, I'm someone who always feels like an imposter in everything I do. And I know you've talked about imposter syndrome on the podcast before. How do I get better about not feeling like I'm a fake?
Oh my God. When you figure it out, let me know. Honestly, I think it's a little bit of fake it until you make it. Like, you keep saying it until you accept it. I still really struggle with it. And one of the things was like, I really don't resonate, or don't, like, when someone calls me an expert on reproductive health and rights, I'm just like, that's not true. Look at all my super smart friends that come on the show. They're the experts. Like, they're so smart. They know all the things. And I think maybe it's just the word doesn't resonate with you. So like, finding another way to say it that feels better for you. So I was doing like a coaching session with some friends in podcasting, and we were joking around as someone pulled up a thesaurus for expert to find other words. And one of them was maven. So, and I'm like, oh, I love that. So I'm a reproductive health and rights maven. Like, that's just so much more fun. And I don't get a full body cringe from it, but it basically means the same thing, right? Like, but I just would never call myself an expert. And so I think some of it is like, you just need to get out of your own way. And that's where I know my downfall is I get in my own way. Like, I just doubt that I'm good. And this is like getting all therapy. Doubt that I'm good enough, or don't meet the requirements, or, you know, I didn't go to college or get degrees in reproductive health and rights. My background's in environmental policy. And so there's no way I could be an expert. But like, literally, y'all, I have worked in this field since 2008. I'm an expert. But like, somehow for me internally, claiming that is really hard. And it's one of those things you just need to keep doing it and faking it and believing it. Keep saying it until you feel it and believe it. And I'm not there yet, but like I said, maybe I'll be the reproductive health maven instead.
I love that so much. I love that. Whoever pulled out that thesaurus, is amazing. That is just so cool. Okay, I totally understand. But then tell me, what's something that you're super proud of yourself for?
I mean, this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, if you had asked me 3.5 years ago, so when Rachel started working at PI, before we had actually started the podcast, if you had told me that we are releasing our 100th episode, I could not wrap my mind around that. Like, there is no way we were going to do 100 episodes of this. Like, I was worried people weren't going to want to be guests. I was worried that people weren't going to see my vision of this podcast not being something that the Population Institute is doing, but it's something that is useful for the community to help spread the message and get people are learning more about these issues and understanding these issues and then seeing what actions they could take. Like, to me, that was the goal of the podcast. Not that it was a program of the organization I worked for, and not that it was advancing our organization per se, but that it was going to be something that the community saw as something useful and providing a service to the community. And, you know, I had posted about the story about what happened at work where everybody Zoom Rachel referred to earlier, where we talked about, everyone was talking about what they loved about the podcast and how proud they were of Rachel and I. And I had posted about that, and some people from the community were like, yeah, no, this has been a great tool and really useful to the community. And that was all I wanted for this podcast. And to see that other leaders in the community think that, like, I'm going to cry just thinking about it. It really made me happy because that's what we wanted. And to see that people see it that way is really great.
And I think, especially in a time where, I mean, during the Trump administration, in a time that literally felt like just a black hole, and every week or multiple times a week, there was, I mean, obviously new horrible information coming out about all kinds of issues, not just reproductive health and rights, but it was almost therapeutic to be able to process and work through what was happening by being like, okay, so this just happened. Let's call, you know, this person and let's talk about this. And to be able to, in such a dark time, to be able to work through that together as just an entire field, as a community, was so special.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so, I cannot believe it's been so much time. I can't believe it's our 100th episode.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're just like, you're right. That Zoom on Wednesday was so, it was very precious, and we are really all so proud of you, Jennie. Seriously, we really are.
Okay, no more making me cry. Okay, there's got to be another fun one. Okay. I know Bridget snuck a fun Disney one in there.
Okay, yeah, let's switch gears. What's your favorite Disney movie of all time? Why do you like it?
So, because I'm that person, I divided this into categories. I know. Because again, you're expecting me to pick a favorite? What? Okay, so I did cartoon and then live action.
Okay.
So I have two favorite cartoons. Okay. One is The Emperor's New Groove, which I love it. It's a little sassy. I love it. It's one of my favorites. It's great. It's having its 20th anniversary this year, so there's like a bunch of stuff for it. So I know 20.
Oh my gosh!
It's also Bridget's favorite Disney cartoon. So they have a mug that has like some stuff from it on there. So I bought that for her. Because Bridget and I really bonded over our love of Emperor's New Groove, and we send each other GIFs from it all the time. So if you ever see that there's like a disproportionate amount of GIFs from Emperor's New Groove in our text chain, that's because of me and Bridget. And then my other favorite is Beauty and the Beast. For obvious reasons. She's a book nerd. Duh. Of course I relate to Beauty and the Beast. Okay. Live action. I think I always had an extra special place in my heart for Mary Poppins. One, there was so much to love about it, but like watching it again as an adult, dude, Mrs. Banks is a suffragette.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, that is so amazing.
Yeah. It is. I love Mary Poppins.
And then I didn't realize this was a Disney movie, but it's on Disney Plus, so it effing counts. Ever After with Drew Barrymore, the Cinderella one.
I've never seen it.
Have you not seen this?
No.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God. She played Cinderella. Angelica Houston is the wicked stepmother. Yeah. No, you have to watch it. It's so good. It's on Disney Plus.
Oh my God.
I didn't think it was a Disney movie, but like I said, it's on Disney Plus. It counts. And then I decided to like go way back in my childhood, and I have ones that I can't rewatch because I'm sure they are not good, but I love them as kids. So were you old enough to remember, what was it, the Sunday night Disney movies or Saturday night Disney movies on ABC? No? Damn it. Anyway, when I was a kid, I didn't have cable growing up. We lived in a rural area, so cable did not make it to us. So that was how I got to experience a lot of the older Disney stuff, because obviously I didn't have the Disney Channel. Mm-hmm. But back in the day, there was like The Wonderful World of Disney, like Sunday night or Saturday night movies, and they played like, not like old Disney movies, because I guess at the time they wouldn't have been that old, but experienced a lot of Disney movies that way. So 2 amazing ones from when I was younger that I'm sure are not amazing, but I watched all the time. Mr. Boogedy and Bride of Boogedy. And oh my God, did I love those movies. They are on Disney Plus, or they were at one point, but I do not think I can watch them because I'm sure they are not good. But I loved them as a kid.
What is Mr. Boogedy? I've never heard of that.
He's a ghost, exactly. He's the boogeyman.
Okay, so I'm writing this down.
But also, I feel like I was looking to make sure I had the names right. So the first one is Mr. Boogedy, and then there's the Bride of Boogedy. And I think I saw like Mr. Boogedy had like 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Of course.
So I'm just saying, I don't think it's a good rewatch, but it was amazing as a kid.
Oh, I feel like I've got all of these like media recommendations from you that I'm just going to have to go back. And I am now currently working my way through Bridgerton as per your...
As a prompt for everybody, our next episode, we are going to talk about Bridgerton. So everybody's homework, because there will be spoilers, is to watch Bridgerton before you listen to that episode.
That's fair. We definitely should give a spoiler alert as a prompt.
Yeah, I'll do a spoiler alert before the episode too, but FYI.
Yep. Well, I'm thinking that we covered a lot of ground here, Jennie. You've been a real
I can't
trooper.
believe we answered so many questions.
I know. And thank you to everybody who submitted.
You need to go lay down and hydrate.
Yeah. But seriously, thank you to everybody who
submitted.
Are you feeling
it was
like you need to rest?
I know. I feel like I have not talked this much, in like a year. It was a lot of talking for an hour. But it was so much fun doing it. It was so great to answer everybody's questions, or most people's questions. Thank you all for submitting them. Thank you all for supporting the podcast. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who takes time out of your day to spend time with us. Huge thank you to Rachel for doing this, for all the work she does on the podcast to make us look beautiful on social media, and to do all the posts and all the things, and the website and all the things. Thank you to Population Institute for pushing us to do this and supporting us in whatever we're covering and letting us talk about whatever we want on the podcast. For 100 episodes, we've had a great editor, Meg. So Meg, thank you so much for all of your work on the podcast to make sure we sound good, which, during the pandemic has been extra challenging. So extra big thank you. And I guess with that, thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode as much as we enjoyed doing it. And always feel free to suggest topics or reach out to us on social media. You can find us at rePROs Fight Back on Facebook and Twitter, and rePROs FB on Instagram. And with that, we will see y'all in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody. See you out there.
For more information, including show notes from this episode and previous episodes, please visit us at our website at rePROsFightBack.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at rePROs Fight Back and on Instagram at rePROs FB. If you like our show, please help others find it by sharing it with your friends, and please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for listening.